Hey y'all, I have an exciting video to share. I want to showcase me killing the troll boss with nothing but the starter ranger kit at level 14. So I didn't even have my 4th perk. And the only thing I used outside was a pair of 5 gold merchant boots. I am really excited to be able to share this. It took me about an hour and a half to get everything down, learn the move pattern. Maybe that's a little bit slow, maybe it's not. Either way, I am really proud of how this went. Apologies for the audio. I accidentally recorded without game audio, so I might have some music overlaid in the background, but just know, I apologize. In the future, I'll have audio. I just made a mistake. Anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about this fight. So when you go in here, your main goal here is to be looking out specifically for the shout move. When you shout, I have found that if you holster your weapon, you can still do it without holstering, but you want to look to your right, and you want to do, I do 2 hops, maybe it's not needed, maybe just 1, but this gives you just enough distance with just enough speed from the boots to be able to completely avoid the attack, which is really nice. So it's mostly rinse and repeat. You're waiting for him to shout, and outside of that, I'm using the Q ability, which is the 3-round arrows for the damage, because you are on a pretty tight window here, especially with the weaker bow. And then you have the E ability. I'm using the 5-shot arrow, but you'll notice in this clip that I am not using the arrows to hit the boss. I'm using them to reload and then canceling. I cannot tell you how many times I had to die to learn that I was making the same mistake over and over again, which is part of why it took me so long. The amount of times that he'll shout and then immediately will follow up, just because it's random what moves he decides to do, from my understanding. If you get caught using the E ability right as he shouts, there is a chance you don't get enough distance to actually go, and reloading is also really dangerous as well. I tried my best during this fight to not reload at all, or as much as possible, because it's just dangerous to do. I only did it if I absolutely needed to. I actually don't think I did during this fight. We'll see. Regardless, I utilized my cooldowns pretty much as efficiently as I could to basically just try to continually do damage. Remember, this troll boss now regenerates health, so you need to be constantly doing damage, and the circle is just getting closer and closer, and then it will start to encompass the arena, and at that point you might already have the troll weak, and it just becomes such a pain to actually deal with. So just to reiterate, you'll see here, he shouts, I holster my weapon, I look to the right, about, 90 degrees I guess, just directly to the right. I hop twice in that direction to gain the speed, because you're not going to have that speed moving backwards. The only times you'll see me doing it without holstering is if I realize I don't have enough time to do it, and I have to do it to survive. So here, I was using my Q ability, and he started shouting. The Q ability seems a little bit faster than the E ability is. But obviously there, I don't have time to holster my weapon after using Q. I just have to go for it. So I guess there is a small chance that I do end up dying there after I use that Q ability. But the most important thing here is keeping your distance and staying close enough to the boss that he doesn't do the charge. So you'll notice I get like kinda sorta close to him right before he starts swinging. If you don't do that, he does the charge up, and it's almost unavoidable. You can avoid it if he does the underhand and jump, or if he does the over. I think you can duck under it as well, but then you're trying to read what the boss is actually doing, and you have that risk of dying. So as long as you get close enough and then do that double bunny hop backwards, you can just beat him kind of for free. So at this point, the circle is starting to get closer and closer, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried. I feel like he's got to be getting weak, and I really don't want to make the mistake and die again, just because, you know, I want the accomplishment of actually doing this. I mean, the fact that this is doable with basic ranger gear, to me, means that, like, if I were kitted at least a little bit, maybe just better boots for speed, maybe some gloves for speed as well, some agility, and just a better bow, maybe a green one at minimum, just to get that extra damage to fight him faster. The only downside is when I was farming this boss, I actually noticed a lot of people were coming in here, aggroing the boss while I was trying to fight it, dying, and then messing up the groove, because at that point, the boss ends up really far away from me. He kills him, and then will turn directly back to me, and then it ends up screwing me over, because, I mean, there's literally nothing I can do at that point. Once he shouts, he charges you, it's a 50-50, unless you can actually tell what move he's doing. And I know there's a way to do it. It's like based on like where his backhand is behind his back, but I haven't gotten to the point where I can actually memorize that myself. So my main purpose here was, you know, defeat the troll. Now it's time to get out. This is kind of the issue I have with this dungeon. I really wish a portal would spawn after defeating the boss. It really sucks that you have to go through and actually get out of the dungeon once you defeat the boss, being that, you know, it's fairly difficult and there's a pretty large amount of risk. So now you have to go back into the dungeon, worry about players, mobs, the circle, because, you know, it takes a lot of time to get all this done. And I'm starting to panic a little bit. You know, I'm not super scared yet. I still have some time. The circle's still going. But I gotta deal with this spider vase spawn. Luckily, they're not red spiders, which is due to the recent update. As I'm sure all of you know, those red spiders are a pain behind that vase. So I'm trying my best to just take out this vase and get rid of the rest of the spiders, so I can just try to find myself a blue portal. Really, I don't have the time or the equipment to try to clear my way through, and I'm already half HP as well. I'm starting to kind of feel the timer dwindle, and I'm a little afraid that if I try to go deeper in the circle, there also might be someone left alive. Looking at the kill feed, I see that, I think it's what, 8 people have died, but that means there could still be 2 people left, and I am in no condition at all to fight. I'm pretty much guaranteed losing a fight if I find somebody. So now I'm a little bit screwed here. I have 2 melee and a bow on me, and I have no idea what to do. So I have to think on my feet here, and the only way I could see myself surviving is by closing them inside, closing the door, and just praying I have enough time to enter this portal. And it was really, really close. I mean, you'll see, I probably survived that with maybe all of 5 to 8 seconds of leeway. I mean, one shot from that arrow was gone. Any extra hits, I was gone. But I'm really happy with how that went. I managed to get a spell book, a spear, and a purple ring. Those 3 purple items, that's really, really good profit. So I'm really happy with how this run went. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more content, maybe some more boss kills, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Have a nice day.